Hello, welcome to this video tutorial for Discussion Board Forum number 2. Our topic this week is developmental milestones in the first 2 years. Here are your assignment instructions, but rather than reading through the details right now, I'd like to summarize. The main question we will answer here is this: what are the developmental areas or milestones that parents need to know about? For this assignment, we will choose, then focus on 5 areas of development. We want to make sure at least one item from each assigned chapter is chosen so that each domain is represented. Remember, the domains are biosocial, cognitive, psychosocial, and a 4th area not covered in our book but discussed in the recorded lectures is the spiritual domain. So you will tell which areas you think are important and also tell why. Be sure to include spiritual formation, and don't forget that citations are required whenever you include information that would not be considered common knowledge. This week our assigned reading covers chapters 5, 6, and 7. The book provides an outline of topics for each chapter. As you can see, chapter 5 contains information about the biosocial domain. Chapter 6 discusses the cognitive domain, and finally, Chapter 7 looks at the psychosocial domain. Because we want to focus on developmental milestones rather than things related to environment or parenting, I have marked the areas we want to focus on with red arrows. After reading through these chapters, you will choose 5 areas to explore. Be sure that all 3 domains from our textbook are represented, and also address the spiritual domain. For purposes of this example, I have chosen these 5 areas to discuss. As you can see, each domain is represented. Please understand that this is not a list of correct or best choices. I've randomly chosen these as examples. After you select your 5 areas, the next step is to write a short statement that tells what and why. In your statement, describe what parents can expect to see and tell why this area of development is so important. Remember, your statement should be based on evidence found in our textbook, not on personal experience. The information on the left side of the screen is a clipping from our textbook. The yellow box contains text that I have written based on what I found in our book. As you compare the two, you will see that my text is based on the information found in the textbook, but I've rewritten it in my own words. Even though I have paraphrased the text, I've still included a citation to show that I obtained this information from Berger's book. Let's look at another example. Here we are looking at emotional development found in chapter 7. Again, notice that I'm using information found in the textbook to support my ideas. Again, notice I've rewritten the information in my own words. If I were to copy the words directly from the book and not enclose them in quotation marks, I would be guilty of plagiarism. Proper paraphrasing seems to be a problem for some students, so I want to take just a moment to show you an example of improper paraphrasing and then provide some guidelines for doing it right. The box on the left side of the screen contains text from our book. The box on the left contains text that is changed slightly but not paraphrased properly. Let's look at how I changed the text. First, I removed the citations and all of the quotation marks. Then I began rearranging words. Notice that this list of words says crying, startling, laughing, and raging. In my version, I changed it to startling, crying, raging, and laughing. I changed the order. Then I began substituting words. For example, I replaced infants with babies. I replaced progress with move. I replaced complex with complicated. I replaced speedy with quick, and I replaced mournful pouts with sorrowful pouting. So as you can see, the text is changed, but it is not rewritten in my own words. If a student submitted this as their own work, the likely result would be a score of 0 for the assignment, and the instructor might even find it necessary to file a Code of Honor report with the university. So what can you do to avoid this situation? Here are some guidelines to help you paraphrase properly. First, read and study for understanding. Next, close your resource document or book. Third, rewrite the information from memory. Fourth, Open your source text and make sure you've not written the same thing as the original author. Finally, provide a citation for any information that would not be considered common knowledge. So now let's get back to our topic. Once you've listed your 5 areas and gone to the textbook to find substantive reasons for each area chosen, you can then write in your own words a short statement for each of the 5 areas. Then you will put your list plus your 5 statements together in one discussion board post. Let me show you what that will look like. Your initial post should begin with a numbered list. Second, you will describe each developmental area and tell why it is important. Third, remember, provide a citation whenever you include information that would not be considered common knowledge. Finally, number 4 is my reference entry. Remember, each citation must have a corresponding reference entry. So to summarize this assignment, you'll choose 5 areas of development. Number 2, you'll find substantive information about each area in our textbook. Third, you will write a short statement for each area of development that you choose. Fourth, edit your text. Remember, compose in Microsoft Word, use the spelling and grammar check, read your post out loud to make sure every sentence makes sense, and then copy and paste it in the discussion board forum. For your reply posts, remember, at least 2 replies are required. Each one must contain at least 100 words. You must include at least 1 citation in each reply post, and you will respond to this prompt. What are some additional milestones parents might expect to see that are not already included in your classmates' posts? As I mentioned in our tutorial for Discussion Board Forum 1, please be sure to compare your work to the criteria found on the grading rubric before you submit your posts. Finally, don't forget about the university's late policy. Make every effort to post early to avoid last-minute emergencies that might impact your grade. This concludes our video tutorial for Discussion Board Forum number 2. We are looking forward to a great discussion this week. If you have any questions, please be sure to contact your instructor.